Cars that deliver the ultimate in performance usually follow a very simple recipe: big power, lightweight, and flamboyant styling. And while most of us want the supercar performance, not everybody appreciates the supercar attention. Luckily, for those of us who want fast but not flashy, there is a solution, and it's called the BMW M5 CS. Okay, I know what you're thinking. It's an M5, which basically means it's a souped-up 5 Series. It's not a supercar, it's a repmobile designed to ferry sales executives from the office to business meetings, aka the pub. And you'd be right. But this M5 is a little different.
The CS stands for Competition Sport, a badge that in BMW's world signifies a car's absolute suitability for the racetrack. It sits above the M5 and M5 competition at the top of the M food chain. It's more powerful, it's lighter, and has a host of chassis tweaks that mean there's more to this car than meets the eye.
This car is serious. I tell you what, it makes sense that it's green, because my God, Hulk smash. Let me give you the numbers. It's got a 4.4 litre twin turbocharged V8 making 635 horsepower, which is 35 more than the basic M5 or 10 more than the M5 competition.
All of that power goes via an 8-speed automatic gearbox to an all-wheel drive system that can send power to all 4 wheels or just the ones at the back, so you can go for traction or style.
Brake, turn, send it in, power. 0 to 62 takes 3 seconds dead, so it'll live with even a Ferrari 812 Superfast, for goodness sake. And because it's all-wheel drive, it will do that in any condition. It's a supercar killer. Keep your foot pinned and you'll see 189 miles an hour flash up on the dashboard. And that's with an electronic limiter. Take away the limiter, and I have no doubt this car would hit 200 miles an hour. Wow.
Straight line speed isn't the M5's only party trick. BMW tested the M5 CS at the Nürburgring, where it set a ballistic lap time of 7 minutes 29.57, putting it up there with the very fastest 4-door saloons. We're not at the Nordschleife today, but we are at the next best thing, Cadwell Park. 2.1 miles of challenging tarmac, snaking its way through the Lincolnshire Wolds. The dramatic elevation changes and the tree-lined surroundings have earned it the nickname, the Mini Nürburgring. But if anything, this circuit on this day could be even more of a challenge for the M5 CS.
The M5 CS is 1.9 meters wide. The track itself, probably double that. So there really isn't a lot of room for error around here. That grass is basically my kryptonite. If I make one wrong move and end up on that green stuff, it's a one-way ticket to the barriers and a very hefty repair bill. But you know what? There's so much grip in here. These Pirelli P0 Corsas, which come as standard, are more like a track day tire. But even out here, where there's a little bit of ice and a little bit of water on the surface, it hangs on, it really does. But then as it dries up, the grip levels increase exponentially. You can really put your faith in this thing. It just sticks. I mean, it's a big car, but it doesn't feel massive. It feels more in line with a BMW M3 or M4. And part of that is down to these incredible seats, which just hold you in place everywhere. Your shoulders, your hips, nothing is moving. It feels Not like you're sitting in the car, but like you're actually bolted to the chassis. And then there's the steering, nowhere near as hyperactive as you might get in a Ferrari or a Lamborghini, but so responsive, honestly. There's so much feel and feedback as well. That's been missing from so many modern cars, but in this, it's there in spades. And I think part of that is down to the fact the M5 CS uses stiffer engine mounts. So now you can feel those subtle vibrations coming off that 4.4 litre V8 through the bulkhead and into the steering wheel. It's not overload, but it's just there enough to make you feel what the engine's doing. It's amazing. There's less sound deadening in the M5 CS, which is something else that contributes to you feeling more connected to the road. You can hear the tires, you can hear the wind. It uses the more advanced dampers from the BMW M8. The springs are harder, front and rear's been lowered by 7mm. Honestly, it's fast and it's involving without being too hardcore. It's so nicely judged.
The gearbox isn't a dual clutch unit, but rather an 8-speed torque converter. It's surprisingly punchy, delivering extra torque between shifts. But the most clever thing about the gearbox is its ability to send power to all 4 wheels for massive traction, or to send all its power to the rear wheels for massive slides.
I wasn't meant to do that. That was completely by accident. This thing's wild.
And the magical thing is that the M5 CS can do all of this while looking as if butter wouldn't melt. Look closer though, and there are some clues as to what makes this car so different from an ordinary M5 competition. This hard to keep clean frozen green paintwork is one of 3 exclusive colors, the others being Brands Hatch Grey and Frozen Brands Hatch Grey. It has a ton of gold accents, including the grille, the LED day-running lights, 20-inch forged wheels, side vents and badges, and all the carbon fiber you could wish for. The bonnet, front splitter, roof, mirror caps, rear spoiler, rear diffuser, and of course the brakes are all carbon. And all of this in the name of weight saving. The M5 CS is 70 kilograms lighter than the competition. It's all very welcome, of course, but at what cost?
I haven't actually looked at the official price yet, but I do have BMW's spec sheet in front of me. The M5 CS cost... What the actual... I don't care how many carbon fiber bits you throw on a 5 Series. I'm not spending £141,000 on an M5. But if you do, for some weird reason, then I think you'll probably like the interior, because it's quite nice in here. What I love are these seats. They're the same seats from the M3 and M4. They're carbon buckets and they look fantastic. Look up here, you'll find the M5 logo is illuminated. On the headrest, you've got the Nürburgring etched up there. It looks sensational. But the best bit is around the back, where it's just pure carbon fiber. It looks sensational. Plus you've got these little grab handles on either side and a little hump in the middle down here by your crotch to rest your wallet, I guess. Then there's the steering wheel. A lot of girth. Really, really thick. Feels great in the hands. Steady. Plus it's got these M1 and M2 shortcut buttons that let you map individual driving modes to each one. For example, if you want to assign all-wheel drive or all-wheel drive sport and soft suspension and soft steering to M1, you can do that. Or if you want two-wheel drive and all the hardcore settings mapped to M2, you can do that as well. And you can change it corner by corner. The back is also interesting. You've got 2 more bucket seats, individual buckets for your passengers. They look great. They don't feel great though. Plus, there's no room for a 3rd passenger. And while I'm on the subject of things I don't like, this center console doesn't open at all. There's nowhere to put your stuff. There's nowhere to put your bags of money. Although I suppose you'll have spent it all, wouldn't you, if you bought this car? But it's still more practical than a supercar because you can carry your friends and your stuff along for the ride.
While we're still reeling from the price of the M5 CS, it's probably a good idea to see how it compares to an actual supercar. You can now pick up a basic entry-level Lambo Huracan, not this Performante admittedly, on Autotrader UK for around £120,000. This McLaren 540C is even more of a bargain at around 80 grand. That makes the M5 CS look pricey, but look at the performance on offer. On paper, it can definitely hang with the exotics.
Obviously, there's still plenty of areas where the M5 CS isn't quite as good as a supercar. And one of those areas is weight. It tips the scales at around 1,800 kilograms, which isn't the end of the world. It's only around 100 kilograms heavier than the BMW M3, but it's still around one African elephant heavier than a McLaren, for example. I also have a bone to pick with the engine. Doesn't sound very good. It sounds gruff. There's not really any tone to it. It's a V8. A V8 should sing. A V8 should be mellifluous. Is that a word? I think it's a word. There's also one other thing that I find really annoying, and that is these seats. I mean, they're okay over relatively short distances, but if you're going on a marathon drive, you're gonna get slightly annoyed that they're hugging you a bit too much. Woo! And there's another thing I've just remembered. Can you hear that sound? There's a slight ticking sound, and it's coming from the seatbelt, which is constantly just tapping against the carbon fiber on the passenger seat. Drives me insane.
But even these gripes aren't enough to put a dampener on the M5 CS experience. Even the price, as crazy as it sounds, is weirdly justified because of the experience and the heart-racing joy it delivers at every moment. It's madly fast, brilliantly capable, and the best part is, it delivers all of this without looking as if it's trying too hard. It flies, but under the radar, and proves that not all heroes wear capes.
The M5 CS isn't what GT3 is to 911. It isn't what STO is to Hurricane. It's kind of its own thing. What it is a really good M5. A madly capable, really well resolved, stunningly effective, massively good fun BMW M5. Man, this thing's good.